Right, 18 July 2024. And today I'm going to be giving you a quick update on a Sunday. And we want to specifically look at the trending news, what has been happening overnight, and what is important for today. So today I'm going to give a very important announcement in the evening. We're going to take some action today going forward. And this is for us as Zimbabweans to take control of the situation. The SADC outcome yesterday has made many people very unhappy, but this is going to be addressed. Do not worry. It is a temporary situation. You're going to see what is going to happen within the next few days. Is going to make everything very, very clear. So the important news for today is that Nelson Chamisa of the CCC was supposed to receive money from Parliament, and this money is part of the Zimbabwe Political Finances Act, money that is given to political parties. Chamisa has got approximately 70 MPs left in Parliament through the CCC. However, that money has been given to the CCC party of Welshman Ncube, and the payment has already been made. So the gazette was done according to the Minister of Home Affairs, Kazembe, last week. And in today's press, there are reports that this money has now been paid into the bank account of Welshman Ncube, Welshman Ncube's CCC, not Welshman Ncube's personal bank account. So the bank account of the CCC led by Welshman Ncube. So these guys are swimming in cash. We're talking here of at least between 2 to 5 million US dollars that has been paid by the Zimbabwe government to the party of Welshman Ncube. And the party of Welshman Ncube has got Karenyi Kore, it's got the mayor of Harare, Mafume, it's got Sengezo Shabangu, and all the guys that are in parliament. So that money is now available to members of the CCC that are currently in parliament and is open to use however they wish in the CCC of Welshman Ncube. So Chamisa was supposed to be paid this money. The MPs were voted under Chamisa, but after the recalls, this money has now gone to the party led by Welshman Ncube, which also has Sengezo Chabangu in it. So that is a very important piece of news for today. Let's look at other news. Passion Java. So this is Passion Java here. Passion Java is a supporter of Mnangagwa, and today is in the news because he has taken to court Moses Mpofu and Chimombe. That crew, Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, have been taken to court or to the police. He's reported them to the police for fraud after they defrauded him of 300,000 US dollars, which they misled him to invest in a Harare City street lights project. So Passion Java was told that there was this project and it was cleared, everything was okay, and the paperwork was in order. And he invested 300,000 US dollars into this project. But it turned out that these documents were fake. And I guess it means he has lost the money. So that is Passion Java over there. I don't know whether he's going to recover his money or not. And I don't know why he doesn't use his connections in government to recover the money, because that would be easier. If you were Passion Java, you could easily just go to Mnangagwa and say, please get my money back from Moses Mpofu and Michael Chimombe. But he's gone to the police. The police report was made at the Harare, the police station at the airport, according to the Standard newspaper. Then let's look at what's happening in South Africa. In South Africa, there is, in fact, before I go to South Africa, let me go to this accident. This is a very sad accident. And this is Jimmy Sithole here. So Jimmy Sithole passed away in an accident on the 7th. He was he graduated on the day at the Harare Polytechnic, and while on their way back to Mutare or Chipinge, they crashed into a Ford Ranger, and the whole family perished. So the whole family passed away. And these were siblings. So one family was celebrating the graduation of the young man Jimmy Sithole, and they crashed into a Ford Ranger. 5 people died, including the daughter-in-law who passed away. So it is 5 siblings and a daughter-in-law. That is Jimmy 28, Samuel 27, Phillip 34, and Laquisha 2, and then the daughter-in-law Rumbidzai Mlambo. They all passed away on this accident. And the reason why I'm raising this issue is that this is the family of General Sithole who passed away here. So condolences to General Sithole for the loss here. The family members of General Sithole who passed away here. So we'll talk to him when he's back from the burial. And my understanding is that all the political parties in Zimbabwe participated at the burial, which happened at Yeovil Cemetery in Mutare last week. So a very sad situation where 5 family members died, and Jimmy had just finished graduating at the Harare Polytechnic on the day. So now let's go to South Africa. In South Africa, there is a hit which happened. So let me show you the guy here. So there was a hit in South Africa where a husband hired 5 men to kill his wife. So this is businessman Stanley Leshabane. Stanley Leshabane has been sentenced to 2 life terms for the murder of his wife, Mokoena-Mabusane Leshabane, and a business partner, Tebogo Mphuti, in Limpopo. He hired 4 gunmen or 4 hitmen to kill his wife, and they were killed in Limpopo inside their car. You remember this case was very prominent in South Africa. So he has been given 2 life terms over the murder. He says that he's not remorseful over the murder because he did not participate in the actual murder. So he doesn't see why he must be remorseful over a murder that happened when he was not there. He, however, admitted that he paid 5,000 rands to the hitman. I think that was for fuel, and a further 60,000. I guess that was for the hit. So a very sad situation that is happened in South Africa, and this is something that is trending today in the news of South Africa. Then let's go to a very interesting story here of Curro. Curro Midrand is one of the biggest. In fact, Curro is a listed education provider in South Africa, and the reports are that they've been running a school in Midrand, in New Road, which is not registered. So there's a massive number of schools in South Africa that are not registered, but it's very rare for a company like Curro to have a school that is not registered, because they're a huge company, they're registered, they're on the stock exchange, so it doesn't make sense why they're not registered, running a registered school. So let's see if the newspapers are out. Let me look at the Sunday Mail newspaper. If the Sunday Mail newspaper is out, let's see if Sunday Mail Zimbabwe is out. Not yet. And then Chronicle or Sunday News, Sunday Mail, Sunday News Zimbabwe, that also is not yet out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys an update on these newspapers later or tonight when we come here to talk. But I want to give you an update on what we're going to do today. Later on in the evening, we're starting to take steps towards the dialogue. So, as you know, myself, I am sponsoring the 50-year strategy for Zimbabwe. When I'm talking of sponsoring is I'm going to be working on creating those documents relating to the 50-year strategy of Zimbabwe, starting with the dialogue. And when we talk of dialogue, we're talking towards a movement towards a transitional system leading to fresh elections. Many people will say many things, but without a concrete plan, our country will not develop. So I'm working on these documents and I'm sharing with all of you guys on the group. We need to sponsor a direction for our country, and we need to take part in the political process. Do not delegate your responsibilities to other people. And many people just shout. Let's not be people who shout. Let's be part of the process. So I'm going to be working today on the first steps, and then I'll be sharing with you guys as we go. Please go to the groups and look at what I've put over there. Contribute to what we're doing. Contribute to the work that we're doing. Contribute to the actual process that is going to take place, because many people are just in it for short term. We need to look at the long term. Billionaires are going to be created in Zimbabwe, but they can only be created if we work on a process of dialogue. Our country is deeply divided. Our systems have been destroyed, and we need to be part of the solution. So I'm going to start working on that process today, and I'll be updating you guys as we go along. So I think that is it for this morning. Every morning at 5 a.m., I give you guys an update. And then at 10 past 9 in the evening, we give you a more comprehensive, solution-focused episode where we talk about how we move our country forward. So be part of the process. Let's not just talk. Let's not just shout. We are going to get this done. Yesterday was very disappointing. SADC did not say in public what we wanted them to say. But believe me, a lot is happening behind the scenes. Next week, you're going to see a lot of movement. Unfortunately, Prince Tebogo Mphuti is still in jail. I've been trying to get hold of him all night. He's not reachable. And there is no idea of where he is. And I'm sure that he's going to be in quite a lot of trouble. As you know, all the tweets that have been going out before the SADC. Now, I want to recap the funds that were supposed to go to Noso Chamisa have now been paid to the bank account of the CCC. That is with Welshman Ncube as president, Sengizo Chawango is secretary general, Mafume as spokesman, and all the other guys on parliament. So these funds have been paid. They were gazetted last week, and they've been paid in the bank. And let's look at some comments here. Gambakwe, are you the messiah of our country? Yes, I'm going to play a big part, and I'm not going to stand back. Over 100,000 people come to Gambakwe media platforms every day. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? And then Mkoma Jordan Morning, Mkoma Sibai saying, the most important thing is to decampaign the Heritage Table School of Ideology. No, Mkoma, we have to talk about a 50-year strategy for our country. And when we talk of a 50-year strategy, is how do we compete better as Zimbabwe? And how to develop our country such that a person that is in the UK can come home and do well. And my proposal is we need to connect our country through high-speed rail. We need to connect our country to new cities, planned cities. We need to change the way our security services are structured. And we need to go into a transitional system for 10 years, up to about 2035, leading into fresh elections around 2040. So that is the idea that I've been pushing, and that we need to push. We cannot sit back, and let's work very hard on this thing that we're doing. Let's make sure that we convince all sides to come together, and we make our country work. How did you arrive at 50 years? Mkoma Triwangani. I am looking at the other countries. So if you look at China, China's got a 50-year strategy. If you look at SADC, SADC has got a 25-year strategy. So they've got Vision 2050. If you look at other countries, and South Korea and all the other countries, they've got somewhere around that same length. Zimbabwe has failed to develop in 100 years. So over the past 100 years, Zimbabwe has collapsed instead of going forward. If only Zimbabwe started to go up every year by 1 billion, by now we're going to be a 50 billion economy. However, Zimbabwe is not developed. Zimbabwe is the worst country right now because of military, the way our military is configured. So our military has become the biggest challenge in our country because They spend the whole day doing press-ups, driving around, and drinking beer. They don't do anything. So what we need to do is to reconfigure our country. We take our country from where it is, which is a dysfunctional society, to a functional society. And now you are going to make me start the process again of describing what I said last week. Firstly, you need to make sure that you create planned cities. But the first planned city must be the planned city for a military. So the military must have a city where soldiers and all the security-related infrastructure is best. So I'm talking here of a proper city, planned city with all the facilities. And I proposed here an area around Binga in the Zambezi to create a city there for the military. And this planned city, what is the purpose? The purpose of creating such a city is so that you have an engineering corps. You have 10,000 soldiers dedicated only to engineering and creating plans for developing your country. That is what has happened in other countries where they had rapid industrialization. So why do you need rapid industrialization? You want your country to move from where it is now. In 10 years, you want your country to become the best country. And what other things do you do for the military guys? You stop them from being politicized. You make sure that they are well taken care of. Make sure that every soldier has two houses. A house in the city, a house in his village. Make them part of the process. Make them part of the development. And then you base your economy on tourism. So why is tourism not working in Zimbabwe? Because the Zimbabwe is not properly connected. So to move from Harare to Victoria Falls, it's a mess. The road is bad and it takes hours. So if a tourist was to come to Zimbabwe, they'll spend most of their time trying to get to the tourist locations. So what you need to do is to link your country with high-speed rail, not those big trains, the shorter trains that go to more places faster. So let's say you connect Victoria Falls to Harare as your first line. Make sure if someone is traveling from Harare to Victoria Falls, they get there in 4 hours. If someone is traveling from Harare to Bulawayo, they get there in 2 hours. That is what your plan is. 430 kilometers is a very short distance. So you connect your country. You also connect your country to other countries. You connect Johannesburg to Harare, Johannesburg to Victoria Falls, Johannesburg to Kariba, Johannesburg to Lusaka. Those are the kind of plans that take 50 years. You can't do that in a short period of time. Then we have planned cities. So you go to Victoria Falls, you make that your main center, so that if a tourist comes, they can spend a month at Victoria Falls. You put a university at Wange, those kind of things. Those are the plans I'm talking about that will make your country rapidly industrialize. Not what Mnangagwa is doing to build bridges and roads and all that. Those are old things. A road to the parliament is not an investment. If Mnangagwa had taken the 200 million that he spent on the road to parliament and he had put a high-speed rail, if he had put a high-speed rail from Chitungwiza to Harare, that was going to be enough. If he had fixed that rail or fixed a railway line, a new railway line between, let's say, Mount Hampden, Westgate, and Harare, or if it put one between Harare and Bulawayo, the value of that is better than what he did. And those are the kind of things I'm talking about, the investment decisions that we need to make. Harare needs a metro rail, a high-speed rail, so that people move around very quickly. You remove the congestion, you fix the way you arrange your cities. So you see what I'm talking about here. Those are 50-year strategies. You fix your currency, you make sure that tourists love to come to Zimbabwe. It's a hub. So that is the idea that we are going to be sponsoring here. And that is the future of our country. You are going to get a lot of funders interested if you do this. And also it will create employment, massive levels of employment. You'll be able to move goods very quickly. Imagine if you can go to Bulawayo in 2 hours in the morning and come back in the evening, and the next day you go to Gweru, it takes you an hour. Those are the kind of things that are lacking in our country. And I'm talking about Gweru now. We're not even talking about a railway line between Bulawayo and South Africa, how it will dramatically change the situation in our country. if we're going to be able to jump into high-speed train and be in Johannesburg in 5 hours, do everything that you want to do, by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you jump back, and in the morning you're back in Harare. Those are the plans that in 50 years' time would dramatically change our country. Look at agriculture. Agriculture is failing in Zimbabwe. It's not working. Imagine if you could produce so much that you have to throw away some stuff. When I was in Netherlands, they produce so much tomatoes that every year they have to throw away some of the tomatoes. Like they dump them using trucks. They don't know where to put them. There's no market for them. Zimbabwe right now is importing maize. There is land lying fallow around Harare. All these things that I'm talking about, these are billion-dollar opportunities. Mnangagwa doesn't need to go to other countries. He just needs to look inside. The reason why Mnangagwa doesn't do this is because his vision is too small. Mnangagwa's vision is very small. It's too short term. He's only thinking about the time when he's in office. We need a bigger vision. And that bigger vision can only come from the military. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I tend to get very interested and excited when I talk about this. These are things that we need to push. That's why we need a dialogue. That's why we need to be part of the process. And we need our politicians to move away from this thing that they're doing of constantly fighting each other without a solution. We need a solution in our country. Mkoema-Mabusane is saying, imagine in Harare working Bulawayo. That would be amazing. Yes, not only that, you can have your house in Bulawayo, go during the week and be in Harare, and your family can have a massive farm or whatever in Gweru, and you can go in the train, drop off at Gweru, spend a few hours, go to Bulawayo, go to Sgodini, go, all those kind of things are possible. Let's have a bigger vision, guys. Our country is amazing. And Mkoema-Mabusane is saying, if this vision is until 2028 only, yes, we need to do it. And the people who are going to implement this are going to be billionaires. You're going to have a lot of money. Mkoema MS Madzoka, it's been long since I talked to you. Mkoema MS, let me see if you said any comment here. In 50 years' time, Gambakwe actually no, in 50 years, I'm not going to be there. Guys, I'll eventually tell you a secret about my health, but these things are not for me. Those are for you and the future generations. Remember, the problem that we have as Africans, and this is all over Africa, is that we don't own the means of production. So everywhere you go, if you look at Mnangagwa, if he gets out of office right now, he's going to be destitute. Like, he's not saved anything right now. He's got no functional business. It's worse. If you look at Kazembe, Genfan, all those guys, they've got nothing except the cars that they're given by government. People within our country, they live short term. They live from hand to mouth. What I'm proposing here is something that can make our country so successful that we cannot compare it with any other country in Africa. The only country that right now is as successful is South Africa. South Africa is so successful that the economy can withstand any shock. There's been so many shocks on the South African economy, but they've managed to withstand it. We don't have the same capacity as Zimbabwe. Any little thing that happened, it will crash your currency. So that is why I'm saying Mnangagwa has got nothing. I can assure you that. If he had money, he was going to be gone by now. So let's not argue about Mnangagwa. Let's argue about the vision. Let's go to a 50-year vision. Let's take our military and stop using it for beer, drinking, driving around, press-ups. And I got a call last week from guys in the military, and they said, Gambakwe, you know what you're telling us is so scary because you're making us think in a different way. And the repercussions of this can be quite big. If the guys in the military start thinking, Kuti, they're capable, what will happen? You don't have to be afraid. Security people, if you see anyone who's the soldier or the CIO, that person at the best of it all has been trained to be a good guy. So you can see people killing people, running after people, or beating people with butter sticks. But their training is such that they're actually good guys. So all the guys you see in the military, in intelligence, and security, they need to have the energy directed in the right place. And we need a structure which will take our economy away from this way it is now to a level that you've never seen before. And that is possible. So I think let's end it here. Tonight, I'll be back. I don't think these guys can listen to you. You mean the military, they do listen to me. And this is not about Mnangagwa or anyone. This is an independent process that we're going to sponsor. The more we push this idea, any other policy or any other structure that comes, or any other manifesto that comes, it has to compete with what we're putting out here, which is how do we make our country work? How do we make our country function? So I'm going to put these ideas that you have, put them on the group. I've put it on the group, the link. If you got the group now, you see the link. And I've given access for you guys to go and edit the document. Tonight, we're going to make the announcement on the next steps that we have taken today. And then we need to move. Dialogue is essential. We need to move away from the pre-SADC stuff that was happening. Now we need to move to dialogue. Dialogue has to be so important, and it has to happen. And we're part of that process, part of the political process. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I really enjoyed talking to you today. And I'll be back here in the evening with more updates.